Hello, hello, hello. I think I am live now. I think it's good to go. Okay. Yeah, I think it's good to go. Well, welcome to the Northern Frontier Trading, first ever live stream. Obviously, there's nobody in here. Hello, hello, hello. I think I am. It's probably unlikely that anybody does decide to join this. Regardless, anyway, I'm gonna crack on because I'll be doing this with or without you. I'm just gonna chat a bit as I go and see it as a wee bit of video journaling. If anyone jumps in on this, comment a wee altcoin, and I will chart it for you and give you my thoughts. I'll do horizontal levels. I'll do high term time frame. I'll look at a bit of TPO, and if it's on Bybit, I will look at order flow as well and try and give my thoughts on some good entries for long or short trades. So yeah, I'm just gonna fire on. First thing I'm gonna do is chart Ethereum, which I had just started before I created the stream. So I'm just gonna talk my way through it. This is Ethereum then on the Bybit chart. So I'm gonna start off wide on the monthly. So zoomed out, the first thing I always do then is chart the open levels. So we have a monthly open here. And when I say open, it's an open that has prices opened for the month, and then it has reversed and price is yet to revisit that open. So it's almost like a naked open level. Quite often these are good areas for seeing a reaction on the chart. So these are the levels I'm charting here. So first of all, the monthly opens, and then I'll go down to the weeklies and the dailies and so on. So I'm going to fire through that and I'll chat you as we go. So the monthlies are charted down to the weeklies. Weekly, and down here. All good. And finally the daily levels. So the daily open here. This is probably a wee bit boring, but I'll rip through it and then give some thoughts here on Ethereum. So we'll just add a couple more. So these are the horizontal levels. Leave that one off. Another daily down here. So an example of some other horizontal levels, you can chart volume levels as well. So we'll look at some ranges. We'll look at the volume on Ethereum. You can look at naked volume point of control on various different time frames. We can discuss then whether Ethereum here is in a range, whether it's trending, where it's come from, where it's attempting to go to, is it doing a good job of getting there? And then you can come to a conclusion as to where you think it might go, and that's basically what trading is. Getting your thoughts onto the chart, treat it like a bit of a blank canvas. You kind of paint this picture, and then you make a decision as to where you would like to put on some risk, and where you would like to take the risk off. And that's basically a very simple way to look at trading. So let's start here on the weekly chart then on Ethereum. So Ethereum had quite a long range, and we could call this the bear market. So I'm going to do a volume pull from left to right. So when we first hit the low of that range to where we could have considered a wee bit of a breakout of these highs. So the reason why I've pulled the volume to this point, we can see that we started trending upwards, and then obviously we got very impulsive to the upside. But what's interesting there, first thing that I see is that we had supply zone. So what we mean is when Ethereum come up to these prices around $2,000, there was supply in the market and the sellers came in. We eventually broke out of that range, and then we tested it as demand. So whenever price broke out and revisited pretty much the same level there around $2,000, this time there was demand for Ethereum, which then shot Ethereum up higher. So does that make sense? Whenever Ethereum revisited the $2,000 level, people wanted to buy it now because they had seen this breakout. Things were getting bullish again, so people decided, the market decided, okay, I'm going to buy it here rather than I'm going to sell it here and here and here and here. So that's a very simple concept in trading, supply and demand. And it's good to begin to train your eye to notice these things in the chart, because that can be a sign of bullish or bearish continuation. So just very, very simply there, I've pulled volume. That was June 2022, November 23, so just over a year. And you can see that supply and demand flip. I'm just going to sip a wee cup of tea as I go here. So obviously Ethereum then started grinding its way upwards, and then eventually it got very, very impulsive, shot away to the upside, and now we're doing something, you could call this fairly similar, as in we're putting in a range now on the weekly chart on Ethereum. So in trading, price tends to, well, price is always either trending or ranging. So that you can refer to that as an imbalance into a balance. So when price is ranging, it is balanced. So what is a range whenever you think about the market, when you think about how price moves? The most simple way to think about how price moves is when people buy, price goes up. When people sell, price goes, or the market goes down, price goes down. So what are we doing in this range then? This is basically an area of the chart where within the prices of $2,800-ish up to $4,000, and I know that is quite a big range, but it is still a range on the weekly chart. There is some degree of equilibrium between these two prices, because the buyers and the sellers are just continuously cancelling each other out, and that's why price ends up rolling along sideways. And you can apply the same theory to any asset, so we're just going to apply this to Ethereum now. So that's exactly what's happening now. Price is just rolling along sideways, relative equilibrium within that $1,200 range. So once you've identified that in your head, we can then look for the outer perimeters of the range to enter trade. So of course you can trade within the range. There's plenty of ways to do that. There's many styles of trading. So the easiest trades are going to come at the outskirts, either the lows or the highs. Because what happens when price ranges, you start to build liquidity in these areas. So we're building liquidity currently under these lows. And if I copy that and pull it to the upside there above these highs as well. So Ethereum could do this for the next year. It could do it for the next 2 years. It probably won't, but that's how a range works. Nobody knows when the range is going to break. However, generally speaking, the longer price ranges, whenever it does break and get continuation, you can expect further continuation. So if we do range for a long period of time, we can expect good follow through when that range does decide to break. Okay, let's keep going with the charting then. So here's Ethereum. We've just identified that we are in fact in a weekly range. So let's keep it real simple. We'll mark the range highs. I'm going to mark that as SFP. That means swing failure pattern. So what I mean by that is when price comes to this level, there's a chance it can just take the liquidity and come back inside. So that's a trading term. You know what? Let's just make it really simple. I'm going to change that to range low. We'll not get ahead of ourselves. Range low. Let's keep it nice and neat on the chart. I'll just delete this then. And copy this to the upside. And we'll change that then to range high. Okay, so there we go. We now have ourselves a nice range with a range high and a range low on Ethereum. And within that range then we have some other horizontal levels. We have weekly, daily, a weekly here. We have another daily to the upside. We also have a nice monthly open there at 3,700-ish level. So let's not forget about that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is pull some volume. So we'll pull the volume across this range. Okay, so right now we are bang smack in the middle of the range, so it's not the most ideal place to be looking for a long or a short. As I mentioned there a few minutes ago, you want to find your long trades at the lows of the range and your short trades at the highs of the range. So this is not a great zone for Ethereum. It's bang smack in the middle. It can go up, it can go down. But for the sake of this stream and learning, we'll just continue to chart it here. I'll have a bit of a think about what we might think might happen. So as it stands, I would consider Ethereum having hit a reasonable resistance level in this testing this point of control. We also have a nice daily swing high here. So we've come down, we've put in a nice daily swing low. However, we have left a bit of a wick to the downside. We've then just come up and put in a lower high. So as it stands, you might expect this to come down lower. You might find a bit of support here in the daily or in this wick. But there's no major confluence in this area. So I mean, there's not too many levels here to support price to then see continuation upwards. So it's probably more likely that we come down towards the lows of the range. And if you have a look down here, you can see this very messy price action here. There's no real decisive wick through this area. So again, we know there's a lot of liquidity down here. If Ethereum decides to break these lows, more than likely you're going to have a lot of people shorting the market thinking, oh no, we're going down to 2.5k psychological number or the other support levels down below. And that's when they can become trapped. You can see you reclaim the lows and then you can get your squeeze to the upside again. So I don't think there's too much to learn here really from Ethereum, other than we are in a wee bit of a sideways channel. What I've actually done here in this stream is create a live stream section, and I'm going to keep all of the live stream charting in this zone. So I'm going to mark up a long trade on Ethereum. I'm just going to keep charting away here, and then we can revisit that with future live streams. Okay, so here we have an anchored VWAP. This is the volume weighted average price, and we can anchor it to any point on the chart. So you would anchor this to what you would consider significant lows and significant highs. So we know that the average price weighted by volume between the low of this wick the entire way through to where we currently are is actually just below us. So that is a reasonable support area. And that just happens to be coming in right there on the daily as well. So you might see a wee bit of a reaction there. Again, it's not somewhere you want to be jumping in to take a swing trade, more than likely. But it is an area of support, at least intraday for now. And so a lot of what Ethereum does will depend on Bitcoin as well. So the best trade for me on Ethereum is just going to be sweeping these lows, to be honest. Something like this. Taking the liquidity, either getting the swing failure pattern and then starting to trade to the upside, or having more of like a failed auction style move where we trade for a little while. You then get a wick maybe through the local lows that you've created, reclaim the low, and go from there. So that will be just spending a wee bit of time outside of the range. Again, where everybody sort of starts to panic, all the sells come in, they get absorbed. We see the price action taken one more time, and that's when we get our move to the upside. So just an idea for now. I'm going to leave that one, and let's head back over to Bybit, and let's chart some other coins. So yeah, Solana. Let's go have a look at Solana. So we'll add the Bybit chart if I can find it. Bybit. Where's the perps? Nice one. Okay, let's add that. Looks like I've been here before. I'll take that off for now. Okay, so we'll do the same thing we did in Ethereum. Let's chart this in super fast mode. Okay, we have a monthly. Monthly to the downside. Let's pop back to the weekly chart. Okay, so the first thing we can see here is that, yes, Solana had, a bit like Ethereum, a very long range there during the bear market. We broke out of that range, and as we discussed in Ethereum as well, we saw a bit of a supply zone turn into a demand zone. So as we rose out of the highs of that range. So what we're seeing now then, again, our supply turn into demand. So let's mark that with a little box to make it a bit clearer for you. Supply, i.e. resistance, eventually broke through it, and that's when you get your impulsive move to the upside, come back down, retest the support, retest the support, retest the support, and you're making higher lows there. So you're grinding your way upwards. I'm going to remove that box just to keep this nice and clean. So let's go to a daily chart. So we can see that Solana is in the sideways range. Let's pull a few volume pulls. Have a look. So what it's also helpful to do is to look left on your chart. Have a look at the previous ranges. Because quite often you'll find when price tries to re-enter previous ranges, the values often act as support and resistance. So the value area high was never claimed of the old range. Again, it was just tested there, and we came back inside. Okay, we'll go and have a wee look at more local price action then. And we'll also pop on some anchored VWAP. So we have an anchored VWAP from the high. That's below us, so we have support there. We'll pull a few more. We'll go for this low, start of the range. Also coming in as support. So you can start to see that there's definitely a nice wee support zone building here. And what else is evident is that you have a volume gap on the chart. So you can see here, even though this is faded because this is outside of the value area, there's actually quite high volume here right on the value area high of this chart. So price tried to re-enter and it was rejected. So that is acted as support once. We're coming down for another test. So the more we test this zone, the higher the likelihood is that it does break. So there are lows to the left to be taken. This is considered quite nice price action here, as we did take the previous low there and just start to trade upwards. So you would consider this business to be finished on Solana. But what I like to do is take a wee tick emoji, pop that down below. So you can consider these lows dealt with if you want to see continuation upwards. From there then we can look and see, okay, where's the best support level for us to look for a long entry on Solana. Again, a lot of it does depend on what Ethereum does and what Bitcoin does. So on the weekly chart, you can see that we had a very impulsive week there in the middle of July, a lot of the time what goes up quite fast can also come down just as fast. So there is a potential for this to be completely retraced. Even if that is completely retraced and we come back to test the point of control, you can still be putting in a higher low here on Solana, so that would still be bullish price action. So that would be my real level of interest there. Yes, coming back inside the range, if we do find support on this anchored VWAP and daily, fill in this volume gap, and if we get a nice reaction on it. So what do I mean by a nice reaction? I wouldn't be trading the first touch of the level. I'd be waiting for the wick through. And for me, I would be waiting for a daily swing low to form. So if you get a wick through the level, price closes above it, you open the following day and retest the level and then start to head upwards, you can assume that that day is going to close bullish, and that's when you would have your daily swing low form. So these fractals here on the wicks on the daily, they will mark the swing highs and the swing lows of the chart. And that's quite a simple way to get a good visual of whether price is trending up or trending down. And quite often when you have large areas of the chart that do not have a swing, i.e. a fractal printed, price can often just retrace and put in a higher low within that level. So those two levels are what I'm considering. The first one, the daily on the anchored VWAP, and then you have this point of control level of the range just below it as well. That would also come in with some Fibonacci support as well. So that would be your